Welcome to Leave It Better. My dad says every person we meet leaves a mark on our lives, and every choice we make can leave a mark on the world. This is a space for hope, for love, and for stories that remind us we are all connected. So take a deep breath and let's leave it better together.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Dwain Daniels, host of the Leave It Better podcast, and my guest today. I can't tell you how much this guy means to me. I've talked to him privately. Obviously, I've given his flowers privately, but I want to give him his flowers publicly. I would not have started this podcast or a lot of the things that I have done in my life as I've gotten older, like if it wasn't for Devon. So Devon he's everything. He's a coach. He's a friend. He's a brother. He's a father. Just an excellent human being. Devon Bandison, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, brother. And I'm so excited for you and the audience is listening today, and then also the audience in the future that's going to catch on to Leave It Better podcast, because when I think of you, I couldn't think of a better word, because you're one of those humans who actually, every room I've seen you enter, you leave it better. And, I just want to acknowledge you for, the commitment to do this, but also for your commitment as a husband to your beautiful wife and your children. You got a special part in my heart, because, coming from Queens, New York, I see you've trained your children well to wear Met gear. So good to see you.
Yeah, and I still get a lot of crap for it, because I grew up in the Bronx, obviously, but I was a Met fan since I was a kid, and then so happened my son got a job with the Mets. I'm telling you, man, full circle stuff, man. I didn't plan it; it just worked out really well. So I'll start with just kind of telling you guys how I met Devon. We met years ago. I mean, a very, very long time ago at a New York City Dads Group event.
Yeah,
and we connected there and we talked. Devon was giving me a little bit about the coaching, what he was going to do, and typical New York. I'm like, what's this guy trying to sell me? What is he trying to sell me? All right. But he wasn't trying to sell me on anything. He was actually just a genuine person, and he's been the same person ever since. Right. And we wound up doing the workshop. It was in, I think, Brooklyn. It was a small spot in Brooklyn. It was maybe only like 5 or 6 of us. It wasn't as big as it is now. And I got good value from it. And then after that, he did a couple paid ones, and I think I did maybe 3 or 4 game changer experiences, which have been amazing. And no matter, and this is the thing I want to say about those things is, like, at first, the first time I went, it was like, oh, this is great. Then the second time I went, I was like, I feel like the material is the same, right?
Yeah.
But what I learned, right, was that the people are what make everything different, right? It makes the experience different, the stories that you hear, right? So yeah, that's how I met Devon. And I just want you guys to have some backstory about who he is.
It's a cool story. I remember we met in that New York City Dads group. There was only a few brothers in there.
Yeah.
So we connected. And then, it's funny because I had recently made a commitment. I had gone to a retreat, and a lot of the listeners can relate to this. And I was skeptical too. I went to this retreat, and this guy asked me, what would you do at the end of the retreat? I don't remember the whole thing, but he said, what would you do if you weren't so worried what people thought of you?
Mm-hmm.
And then he also said, what would you do if you weren't so concerned about money?
Mm.
And it was funny. It was hard getting me to the retreat, because I met the guy in my company. I was into leadership development. He invited me, and I was like, who's this California guy trying to invite me to California? You know what I mean?
Not even New York, California. You try to get me out of New York, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, and he's saying things like, something about you. And I'm like, what's up with this guy, right? So funny story. He invites me, and at the time, Dwayne, I'm going through what they call a difficult divorce in New York. This is before I went to California, and they called it conscious uncoupling.
Uncoupling.
This is difficult divorce, right? and at the time I had probably about $5 over lunch money. You know what I mean? Like I had lunch, and then I had $5, right? I was working at a nonprofit. I was running programs in this nonprofit for at-risk youth. I didn't like their name, so I called it At Hope Youth. Mm-hmm. And I started moving through the ranks. So I did well, and I ended up being a leader there. But, living in New York, money goes to everything else, right? So this guy invites me, and I remember saying to myself, I don't have the money to go to California. I was like, the plane ticket and all this. And all of a sudden, he invited me out there, and I woke up 4 days later, right? Actually, I woke up every day. But after waking up every day for 4 days, I said, if I don't go here, I may just live my default future. Like talking about leave it better. The guy made an impact on me. He left the room better. I knew the content, what he gave me was valuable, and he left me with this kind of internal question. Like we have it, right? We have that
Right.
that voice that's like, there's something more out here, right?
Yep. Yep.
And I woke up and I said, if I don't do this, I will live my default future.
Mm.
So he gives me some contact information, and it says, you could stay in a place called this place called OJAI California. And I didn't know what the name was. So I
Right.
called the hotel and I'm like, hey, this is Devin. This is my first time in OJ. And the woman starts laughing at me.
Right.
She's not laughing with me. She's like, Devin, you sound like a nice guy. OJ is the guy we don't talk about out here. He says, this is Ojai. And I said, oh, my bad. And on top of it, the name of the place was the Lavender Inn. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if you're from New York and the place is called the Lavender Inn, usually they charge him by the hour, right?
Yes.
But not out in Ojai. It was beautiful. So
The Lavender Inn, yes.
I fly out, D. I finally fly out, right? And this is important because sometimes we have that inner calling. Sometimes, like, people, make an impact on you and they do leave it better, and you're called to follow up or reach out, but then something gets in the way. Usually our thoughts or our ego or something like that.
Yep.
And there was something in me that was like, I got to go. So I go. And the third day, he asked me 2 questions in this place called Meditation Mountain. What would you do if you weren't so concerned what people thought of you? And what would you do if you weren't so concerned about money? And I said, well, I love fatherhood. I do that every day. So that's number one. I'll do that all day, every day. There's nothing brings me more joy. And then I looked at him in the most humble New York kind of way. And I said, this thing called coaching you're doing, I think you're good, but I think I could be one of the best in the world.
Yes, sir.
And he looked at me, and this is leaving it better.
Right.
As a mentor, he could have like squashed that. But
Yeah.
he didn't. You know what he said? He said, I love that. He said, go build a business around that. And this is what's interesting, D. When I got on that plane, nothing on my outside world had changed. But internally, everything changed because I now had possibility. And on that plane ride 15 years ago, I made a promise that if I have an opportunity to create a weekend like this guy created for me to change my life, I will. And that's how the Game Changer Weekend experience started. And it's the reason why, since we moved it to the 3 days, I've never raised the price, because most people can't work with me one-on-one. I work with a lot of pro athletes and leaders, but I've always made it accessible, that weekend of transformation. And it is the most transformational weekend on the planet.
I agree.
When you came, it was good. It was like the one day. I think we had
it was one day.
7 people. I think there was 3 of them with scholarships. Like it was, it was just like I just wanted to get people in the room and
I
learn.
I was one of the scholarships.
You were one of the scholarships, right? And I think like that's a lesson. If you're starting something, like it's people worry about money and people pay. No, I wanted to get good at my craft. So I needed to be in rooms around people, whether it was 5, 10, didn't matter, and just practice my craft. And then eventually the Game Changer turned to a 3-day event. And now since we've done that, we've had 44, we just did our New York one, 44 consecutive sold out events all over the world. London, New York, LA, we're doing it in Dubai, Florida. We do it all over the world. But it started in that 7-person, 6-person thing where 3 of them were gifted, including you, right?
And that was beautiful, man.
Right?
Beautiful.
And is talking about leaving it better. It's like, I want to get better at my craft, but I also, if I get 5 people in the room, that's 5 people I could leave better. Right? That's 5 people could leave this room with like when I was on that plane, I knew something shifted in me. And on that plane ride, you know what I did after that, Dwain? I picked a date, 3 months, where my kids would be able to go to my first event from Ojai. I circled the date. I called it the Fatherhood Call to Action. I invited all these people to talk who've been to TED Talks. I went to TED Talks and I've got relationships. I was like, hey, come talk. I don't have no money. So we had this event in Rochdale Village, Queens. And the only entry fee, again, free, was emails, right? Come in, be in my email list. We come, somebody videos me doing this thing. All of a sudden, a week later, someone saw the video, said, "We want to pay you to come do your own TED Talk in Florida."
Wow.
So based on that weekend and my commitment, my first professional gig after the one like I
Right.
did in Rochdale was a TED Talk
Wow.
called, The Greatest Question a Father Could Ask, was in Boca Raton, Florida, in an outdoor amphitheater in front of 15,000 people. And my message is this. It wasn't nothing special I did. I just followed through with that voice. I say I act at the mere whisper of God.
Right.
And that little voice we have, if we take some action and get some commitment behind it, we could create a life of miracles. So my message always is this. If it can happen for me, it can happen for you.
No.
A lot of people's message is, "Oh, it happened to me. I've come from some different planet. I'm better."
Right.
No, no, no. For me, I'm not the guru guy. I'm like, hey, I'm a guy from Queens who created a world that's amazing. That I'm the most sought after go-to mind coach in the NBA, Major League Baseball, as well as I've worked in 67 of the top Fortune 100 companies, right? And it's just from commitment,
Mhm.
integrity, practice, and service, like you said. I don't need anything I don't want anything from people. I want to leave it better. I want to serve. And when I was talking to you and we have that New York skeptical,
Yeah.
I just knew. I was like, man, and look at what me and you been together for so many years now.
Ever, man. Oh my gosh, man.
And when you or Michelle come to Game Change, I think you guys came a couple years ago,
Yeah, we
it
did.
was
Yep.
like the brightness, the love that you all bring because of what you're up to in the world, just leaves it better. So I couldn't think of a better podcast for you for a name. When you said it to me, I was like, that's deep. That's how he lives his life. So
No,
that's a little
I
about me, man.
appreciate that, brother. And I think that the key thing that you said for me, you said a lot of key things, but I think just showing up and doing the thing, right? I think we get caught up in what we can't do or we don't have the budget for this, right? And if I didn't do those game changers years back, right, I'm not doing this today. And I'm quite be honest because that gave me the battery, right? That gave me the like, man, you know what? Devin's right, yo. Let's just do it, right? Like you start and what you said is like you get better at your craft, right? I'm not a podcaster. I've never been a podcaster until I started the Mean 16 podcast and the Power podcast. That was birthed from the Game Changers, right? Just talking with other people, right? And listening to their stories and how they've overcome things and how they've built things and committed to things. And I carry those things with me all the time. So that's why I'm never afraid to start something.
Yeah.
The only thing now is I plan a little bit better. Like before I get so excited, I'm just going to throw it out and do it, right? Now I'm just like, all right, cool. This is what I'm going to do. Like, now how do I build it to the right way so I can sustain it for a while, right? And that's what I did with this. This was the first time I really said, stop. You're going
Yeah.
to do it, but let's do it right, right? Let's get everything in line. So
It's good.
thank you for that, man. That's really been something. And even like the agreements, right? Like my son, I talked to him about that. My daughter, where we commit to something and say, hey, I'm going to be here at 8:30, right? And I'm not going to be there at 8:30. Now I got to rewire that agreement before it's 8:30, not at 8:31, right? Like it's those small habits that I've learned from you that has made me better.
Yeah, you talk about commitment. I always say failure to commit is the high cost of low living,
Mm,
right?
mm,
So if
mm.
you look at people always if you look at, in the game changer, we look at 7, 8 areas, right? Relationships, health, finances, dreams and aspirations, all these different areas. And if you look at any area of your life where there's a low way of living,
Right.
you can track it back to commitment. So failure to commit is a high cost of low living.
Mm,
Right? It'll get you a front row seat to a life in the stands of life, not on the court.
right.
Right? And you talk about language, that's one of the things people remember from, I'm well known to being on time. And that's
Yes,
today
sir.
I'm on Riverside, like, hey, how do we get our Riverside? And it's funny because it's not a bad way to know it. And people don't understand it's not about time. It's about creating a world where you're count onable, meaning I can count on you, but
Hmm.
most importantly, I can count on me.
Yes, sir.
So one of the most misused words is integrity. And I want the audience to hear about integrity because when people hear about integrity, they usually think about moral. like think like it's a moral failing, right? Like Devon's out of integrity, he's a bad guy. No.
Right.
I want you to think of integrity like a chair with 4 legs, right? If a chair, one of the legs was broken or loose, the chair would be out of integrity.
Mm,
It would not be a bad chair, but it would be a chair that is not workable,
right.
right? So when we give our word, right? Integrity to me is I give my word to Dwain, I'm going to be somewhere at a certain time. And either I'm there or I'm not. Either I'm there in integrity or I'm not. Now, the moment I know that I'm not going to be on time, for anything, I'm in communication saying, hey, we had an agreement. I'll be on time. I'm not going to be able to keep that agreement. And then we create a new agreement. Now we have a world in which I can count on me, you can count on me. But what most people do is like in the job, right? The boss gives you a deadline Friday, and Tuesday, oh, hell, ain't no
You
way I'm
have
going to
to,
make
right?
it. Ain't no way. I got all these other projects. So, but what most people don't do, they don't say nothing Tuesday. They don't say nothing Wednesday. They don't say nothing Thursday. Now, Friday, they show up and they say, boss, I'm overwhelmed. I just too much going on. Now there's a mess that's made.
Mm-hmm.
And in my world, it's way better to understand the moment Tuesday you can't make this project, you're in the communication. Hey, boss, I don't think I can make it because this is what could happen. The boss says, well, tell me why. And they say, I got all these other projects. Now the boss says, well, or you're the boss. And you say, well, what if I take these 2 off your plate this week? This is more important. Can you get it done?
Right.
Yeah. If you do that, now you've created a world that's workable.
Yep.
And most people, they come in 9 o'clock meeting it, and now they come in at 9:10. Now the meeting goes to 10:10. Now the woman who was supposed to pick up her son from daycare gets there late and now has to pay a $50 fee
Mm-hmm.
because the person who's late doesn't realize you've created a mess in other people's lives.
Yes.
So it's not that you got to be perfect with time, but the moment you can't make it, be in communication. And if you cause a mess, clean it up.
Yeah.
I clean a mess as AD. I apologize. I was supposed to be at 8:30. I was here at 8:32. If there's anything I can do to clean up the mess,
Mm-hmm.
let me know.
Yes. Nah,
And
that's
now
perfect.
D can count on me. I can count on me.
Absolutely. And speaking of mess, one thing you always taught me as well is do not spill on other people, right? Meaning like if you are having a terrible day, you do not get to make my
Yeah.
day terrible.
Yeah.
I give that to everybody. There's 2 things. I give people a lot of stuff that I get from you. So one is that, right? So I want you to speak on that a little bit. And the other
Yeah.
one is the saucer.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
got you. Yeah. So what I call it is feelings being.
Yeah.
A lot of people think because they feel a way, they need to be a way.
Yes.
Right now, the first thing is I always honor my feelings. Like feelings aren't a fact. It's just a fact that we feel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for instance, most people use language called like, am angry. Like they're being angry instead of I feel angry. So for instance, how you feel doesn't need to leak into who you're being. When my daughter calls me, she says, how you feeling, Dad? I said, I'm really angry at your brother. Then I ask her, do you want me to relate to you how I'm feeling or who I'm
Mm-hmm.
being? She always picks being.
Right.
Because I can, right?
Right.
Right?
Small girl.
Right. She's a smart girl. Because I
Right.
can feel angry at my brother and her brother, and I could still be loving to
Yes.
my daughter.
Absolutely.
But what most people do is they leak their feelings over the world. They try to make the world their therapist,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I have a guy who works a company, CEO. He gets in an argument with his wife on the phone and he's pissed. He hangs up on the phone. Then I watch him go into the meeting and flood his anger over everybody.
Mm.
It's selfish.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're feeling a way, I need to feel it, right? So how you feel doesn't need to leak into who you're being. You can actually feel a way, hey, I feel angry and I'm being loving. It's the same reason, Domino's Pizza used to say they'll deliver in 30 minutes. They never do. It's the same reason I don't punch the Domino's Pizza guy in the face, right? In my world, in Bandison, men, we get a thing called hangry, right? I don't know if,
Yo,
like
oh yeah.
if
Oh
you're
yeah.
hungry, you become like you get
Yes, sir.
agitated. My wife, all the boys.
Why?
Now,
Yep.
say I
Absolutely.
order Domino's Pizza and I'm hangry, right? Now, one way to relate to that is I'm hangry and I'm going to leak it all over the delivery guy. But what I do is like, I'm feeling angry, right? And then who am I going to be to this delivery guy? This is how this guy makes a living. Probably doesn't make that much. So all the time I practice, they're late, I'm angry, and I actually give them an extra tip. Tell them have a great day. Because I can choose to be that. I don't need to leak how I am over this. Here's another example. You go to a funeral. Now, what I want the audience to know is neither is right, wrong, good, or bad. It's just a choice. So I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying, how do you want to live your life, right? It's a choice. So say a brother dies and there's two sisters. One sister boohoo crying, screaming, throwing stuff, making a scene. They have to escort her out. The other sister's sitting there. She's sad. They're both feeling sad, but the other sister's in the back. Welcome, people. Thank you for coming. We're celebrating his life. I love you. Right? Both are feeling the same way. One is leaking it all over the church. Right? The other is being a different way, being inviting, being loving, being right. That's a choice. When I spoke at my boy in Floyd Flake's church, my boy Goody, biggest mentor, I was sad, man. It was my biggest loss of my life. One of them. One of the two biggest losses of my life, actually. And his family asked me to speak. They had 2,000 people in person and about 2,000 people online. And he was not famous. He just loved people.
Love people.
Right? Goody. He just loved people, man. This guy would call 10 people a day just to tell you, hey, I'm just checking in and let you know I love you. That's all he did.
Beautiful.
Right? He was that kind of human. And so when he passed, I was feeling real grief and sadness. And at his funeral, I read a thing called The Dash, and I was being inspiring. How do I know that? People came to me and was like, hey, man, that was the most inspiring eulogy I ever heard. And so it didn't downgrade my feelings. I can feel a way, and I can choose to be a way. So one thing for your audience to know is just check. You can honor your feelings and say, hey, I am feeling angry, sad, fearful, and I am choosing to be committed.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's feeling being.
Now that's an important thing, man. I think a lot of people do struggle with that, and I've only gotten better at it because of talking with you and working with you and understanding that those two things can live together, right? And separating them when you need to separate them. So I think that's important lesson.
It's huge. And most people will say, well, wait, you don't want us to honor your feelings? No, you can honor your feelings. Like I honor my feelings. I'm feeling away. I just don't choose to make the world my therapist for my feelings.
Right.
Why do I need to leak everything on like how I'm feeling on everyone else? I got a coach. I got people I love that I can talk to about that. But going out in the world, and this is why, it's funny being on, I travel a lot on the airplanes. Like I travel all over the world, and people who I think some of the nicest people in the world lose their minds because their feelings leak into their being. Right? Oh, I'm gonna be late. It's gonna ruin this, and now they're taking it out on flight attendants that had nothing to do with it.
Right.
It's selfish.
No, it's true. And I get caught up in that. I know, especially like when you're in traffic and you're like, oh man, come on, I gotta. But knowing that sometimes it's you causing it because you left late, right? So you've already caused some of this. You're going to be late already. So it's just accepting how do you react in those situations. And I think that is really a key point because now I try to at least take a deep breath and say, okay, what does this really mean for me right now? Is this that serious? Okay, I might miss the flight. All right. Then we got to figure out what's next for me, right? And not going crazy and like I said, just leaking on other people.
Yeah, because the issue, this is for your audience to remember, is like the issue in life is never the issue. The issue is how we relate to the issue. So it ain't the missed flight that's the issue. The issue is how am I going to relate to the missed flight? Right? Some people end up in jail from a missed flight. Right?
Yeah,
like
right.
I missed flight. Now I want to put my hands on a flight attendant. Now I'm in jail.
No,
right?
Right.
It's the same thing as like do the right thing, right? It's like somebody stepped on my Jordans, and is that the issue or how I relate to this?
Yeah, better preach,
right?
Brother. Yeah,
right.
It's true.
So, and that's why a lot of people get in trouble. It's never really because of the issue; it's how we're relating. And how we relate is a choice, right? It's the same thing as the Domino's pizza guy. Like, I have a choice of who I'm going to be. I'm in enough control of my life that my feelings do not need to leak into who I'm being,
Yeah. No,
right?
that's great, man.
So, yeah. So that's it's if people could get that, it would transform their life, man.
No, I agree. And it'll help in the workspace, their personal life. It applies everywhere in life. And I think
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it.
And
Yeah. So
go ahead, go ahead.
no, go ahead, D.
I just want to add something came to mind. It goes into relationships too, right? Like, if you knew the nature of the human, like when I worked in mental health, they changed it to behavioral health, right?
Mm,
I used to have psychologists, social workers report to me. Then I left and created my own coaching practice where I work with a lot of leaders all over the world. And the nature of things, they changed it to behavioral health. The problem with behavioral health is when you focus on behavior, it's 2 steps down. So I want the audience to take a pen and a paper and just write on a piece of paper: thoughts, arrow, turn to emotions, turn to behaviors,
mm,
then turn to your results.
mm,
Thoughts, emotions, behaviors, results. Most people think if I change the behavior, it'll be all good. But this problem is it starts with thought.
hmm
So if I change the behavior and say, I'm out of shape, I want to go to the gym, and the behavior is I'm going to put the gym on my calendar 5 days a week,
Right.
and then wonder why I changed the behavior, why I'm not getting to the gym, because you didn't change the thought. Oh, this isn't that important. Nobody will know but me. I really don't want to go. My thoughts,
mm.
I'm not feeling it, so my feelings leak into my being, so I'm not going to head, right? So we got to look at thought. So even in a relationship, and my wife and I have the most loving relationship. Like, I love my wife. She loves
Yes,
me.
I
Like,
see it, man. I'm so happy for you, bro.
yeah,
I'm
thank you.
so happy for you.
And even in the most loving relationship, she knows that she can never make me happy.
Mm,
I want this for people in relationships. And people put they're responsible. My wife, his kids are responsible for making me happy. And what I mean by that is what makes me happy about my wife is my thoughts about my wife. Thoughts turn to emotions, turn to behaviors, turn to results. The moment my thoughts about my wife change,
right.
right? Think about it.
No,
So
it's
here's the right? This is gold for people, right? Like, because people going around making other people responsible for their happiness, but nobody can make you happy. So, for
true.
instance, here's an example. People, a new couple, right? They're living together, and your partner says, "Baby, can you take out the garbage?" And it's early, and they're
Yeah,
like, "Oh yeah,
yeah,
baby,
right.
I'll take." And they're
I
skipping to
yeah,
the
don't worry about it.
yeah, of course, they're skipping to the garbage, right?
Yep.
Now, a year and a half goes by.
Mhm.
Same partner, same garbage. Hey, baby, can you take out the garbage? What do I got to do? Everything around here?
It's true.
Now, nothing changed except your thoughts
The
about
thoughts.
the person and the request. Woman, somebody likes flowers. Husband brings flowers home every week, and she's like, "The flowers, you make me so happy. The flowers make me so happy." And I asked the woman, we do this in Game Change. I said, "Well, what if, like, during the week he left his phone open, and you realize, uh-oh, he wasn't being loyal. Now he brings home flowers." She'd be like, "I throw it out on my," right? Now, the flowers never made her happy. He didn't even make her happy. Her thoughts about what it meant made her happy.
Man, that's a gem right there, man. That is a gem right there. It is true. Your thoughts just create, and it also limits your world too, right? Like if the wrong
Right.
thoughts, right? Like where
That's
you want
right.
to go, where you want to be, how you want to show up, how you think of yourself, right? So yeah, it all starts there. I agree.
So the issue is never the issue. It's how we think and relate to the issue. So if you want to have a loving relationship, you need to have loving thoughts about your partner.
Mm,
If
yes.
you want to have, so it's called the seer distinction. If I want more loving, I need to be and see more loving.
Mm,
If I want more appreciation, I need to see and be more appreciative,
right.
because that is what causes people's happiness and unhappiness. It's not the other person. People do what they do.
Yep.
It's how I'm thinking about it.
Nah, that's a gem, a jewel for you guys. Man, this is why I had to have him on here, man. Like he's taught me so much over the years. Super, super humble guy. Always the same person, man. Like always shows up the same way for people. And, especially coming up in New York, like there's only a handful of people in my life like that, like honestly, that I count on like that. And I know it doesn't matter if I don't talk to Devin for weeks, months. If I call Devin, he picks up the phone. If he's busy, he'll tell me, "Hey D, give me 5 minutes. I'll call you in 30." Like super, just always available for me, man. And I just want to tell you how much I truly appreciate how you show up for me.
Yeah, you're welcome, brother.
Yeah,
It's an honor, man. I think, I have a commitment, man. Like I have an assignment, I'm clear on my assignment on
yeah,
this planet, man. And, when you grow up the way I grew up, you gotta, I got a real deep gratitude for life,
yes,
for,
yes,
for being around and living at this age.
man. You know it, man.
Yeah. And somewhere along the way, there's been people who've been a stand for me, who kind of been like angels, right? And
Yeah.
I realized that, you know, this life I have an opportunity to fulfill my assignment. And one of my assignments is, one, I'm gonna love as many people as I can before I die. And it
Hmm.
starts with my family and then spreads out to everyone. And then two, when I'm in that, urn or whatever y'all, spread me out, I want people to say, hey, this guy used every bit of talent he had for good and to help people. And that's really my commitment. And so and it's really loving service.
Yeah.
If I could make a difference and leave it better, as the podcast name is, and that's what I'm gonna do every time, man, because that's my assignment. So
It's always been your assignment. And I think
yeah,
I echo what you're saying. And that's what kind of made me start the podcast. It was just like, I want to leave here empty, right? I
yeah,
want to leave here doing all the things that I said I wanted to do. I wanted to leave something for my kids to listen to when I'm long gone from here if they want to, and I think that was super important to me. And one of the things that I learned was from you, obviously, as well, was just like defining my success for me on my terms, what that looked like for me, what I create for me and not for anybody else. And doing that has made my life more fulfilled because I'm not chasing anything other than my own happiness and what makes me happy, what makes me successful, what makes my family successful, what makes my marriage successful. And a lot of times what people do is they get this comparison of, well, their marriage is this, I want it to be like that, but you don't know what's going on, the inner workings. Like, how did we get here? You don't know the
yeah,
failures, the setbacks, like the things that we had to discuss to get to this point. Right. So,
yeah.
I think it's a beautiful life that you're living, man. And I don't think anything happens by accident. Like I think we were supposed to meet that night. We were supposed to talk that night. And I won't even say friends, been brothers ever since, man. Like, and
100%.
I just think it's been a beautiful, beautiful thing to see where you started and to see where you're at today. Like I was talking to Nadera and I was just like, yo, Devin he's the guy, man. Like is he's everything that he said he wanted to do, he has created and done, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm grateful for it, man. And it's such a good point you make. It's like, we have an opportunity out here, and we could be out here making excuses, or we could really, get into some action. And, one of the things one of my teachers, Byron Katie, used to say, when you compare in the universe, you always lose.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Right.
There's no star like comparing to another star. Like, look at the
Right.
Big Dipper, it's bigger than,
Right.
like it
Right.
just is, right? And
Yeah.
so our job, like to your point, D, is like, when I get out of comparison and like living someone else's life and what their relationship may look like, and I say, like, it's one of the biggest questions I ask people. People usually say, I want to be happy or successful. And then I always ask, well, would you know what that looked like if it smacked you in the head? Because it sounds like up until now, you've been living someone else's
Mm-hmm.
definition of success. So my first thing is like, you got to define your own success.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like for me, when I created my business, my son is a really good ball player, and I used to coach him through, and now I give him a lot of mentors. He's in ninth grade, but like since I've run my business, I made a commitment that I usually don't work on Fridays, and my day ends by 3 o'clock
Nice.
because I always wanted to My version of happiness was I want to be off from work so I can go see his games and spend time with my son. That's my version.
Yep.
Right? That's not anyone else's, but like for me, I wanted to create a life that's that. And, we have an opportunity to create an intentional life if we choose.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And
Yeah.
that's why I think people should attend this Game Changers event. Like if you've never been to one, I would encourage anyone to try it. It's gonna make you uncomfortable because it's gonna maybe have you talking in front of people like, and Devin is going, it'll call you out, especially on your bullshit. If he senses it that you hiding something or you're hiding your true self behind something, and you're trying to put up a facade, right, for what's happening in this room. He'll call it out. He'll figure it out. But the beauty of it, he calls it out in a way that it's already in you. He knows it's already in you. He's just pulling it out from you. So I encourage you guys. And this is not a sales pitch. This is not. I didn't bring him on here to sell it. Why I want to talk about it is because it's made such a powerful impact on my life. And I've gained more friends and colleagues from these Game Changers events. People would have never met, if I didn't get into this room. And I just encourage people to do it, man. Make yourself uncomfortable. Get in front of this guy because he is the premier coach. He's somebody I continue to learn from. And what I aspire to be as far as just as a coach, relating to what the things that he does and how effortlessly, like he just comes up, right off the top. It just comes off, and it's just not fake, and that's the thing I love about it. Devin has always just been a real guy, man. And I just appreciate it. I know I keep singing his praises, but it's because, as he talked about, man, life is short. The people that you love, you want to love on them. You want to make sure that they understand that you love them. They don't question that you ever love them. Like, I don't have to talk to Devin for 4 more months, but he will never question if I love him. Ever, right? Birthday, like, I love you, brother. I've always, he goes, I love you back. Like, there's no question in that. And I want people to understand that vulnerability between men is something that is super important, So for me, what I want to ask you leading into vulnerability, like, how does that work within your leadership style? How do you use that?
Yeah, for me, my best definition of vulnerability is truth telling with courage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's really what it is. Because a lot of people, what does it mean to be vulnerable? It's like the ability to tell the truth with courage. So when you talk about me at the Game Changer, yeah, I'm straight with people. I'm
Right.
what you call a real talk New Yorker, and I always come from love.
Yes.
And that's the one thing that people understand from me is like, I love you enough to be the only person in your life to tell you the truth.
Yes, sir.
Right? There's other people who sugarcoat and try to soften it up, but like I love you enough to if I see something, I'm gonna share it. So for me, vulnerability, when you could be counted on to tell the truth and have courage, people trust you.
Yeah.
They know they can count on you, right? And so, like for instance, the brain looks for evidence of things, right? So for instance, I'll give you an example and I'll bring it back to vulnerability and also truth telling, okay? I'm gonna give an example. So we wake up and I have coffee, it breaks, I stub my toe. Most people say I'm gonna have a what? Bad day.
Yeah.
Right? Then in Queens, we go down to the F train. The F train's delayed, right? Right? The F train's always delayed, but because I'm having a bad day, see? I'm having a bad day. Now, anybody's been in New York and been in a subway, we get on a subway, there's 3 seats. I'm sitting here, someone's sitting here. Now this guy is coming towards me and you're saying to yourself, I know he's not gonna try to I know he's not gonna try to fit in, but he can't fit.
Yeah, man.
And of course he sits there, half my skin,
Yeah.
and now I say, see, I'm having a bad day.
Yep.
Right? Now, on top of it, in New York, we have these people we lovingly call the onion people because they have this smell, and it's like you smelling onions and your eyes start watering, right? And you say, "See, I'm having a bad day." And then maybe you get to the office and that colleague who's on a 10 before you even have your coffee, you see, I'm having a bad day. Now, watch this. That's because when we create something in our mind, our brain will look for evidence. Now, we could easily break a cup, stub our toe, and say, hey, it's going to be the best day of my life.
Right.
And now the brain, oh man, the birds. Oh man, my son is smiling, right? Now the brain will look for the evidence of that, right? So let me go back to vulnerability and why it's truth telling and courage. So I wake up every day and I train my brain to say, this is the best day of my life, because I want my brain to be looking for that, the evidence of that. It's kind of like Gandhi. Gandhi said, if you can't see God in the next person you're talking to, you'll be looking for him or her the rest of your life.
Mm,
Right. So if I can't see the best day of my life in front of me today, it's going to be some day that never comes. Right.
right.
So one day, my wife is the most loving, caring person, but she's going through a tough morning.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, how you doing today, my love? And I say, it's a great question. Today's actually the best day of my life. And she's really, she goes, can you just not say that today?
Can I get
Right.
a different answer? I'm just not in that
Right.
space.
Not today. I'm not in that mode. And I understand. It's
Right.
understandable. It's understandable. People feel, I get it.
Yeah.
And I tell her, I love you, and you can count on me that I'll be saying that today.
Yes, sir.
Now watch. Truth telling with courage, right? Now, she didn't like it at first.
Mm-hmm.
She goes through her morning, 12 noon that day. She comes back to me. She says, I want to thank you. I said, why do you want to thank me? She says, because I can count on you to be who you are,
Mm.
who you say you are. And to me, that's vulnerability,
Yeah.
right? Like that's intimacy. Into me,
Yes.
I see. Like I'm allowing you to understand that I'm going to be a stand for who I am, so you can see it and you can either count on it or not want to be around it. And I
Right.
love you.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's the importance of connection with people. People are trying to make it too like butter people up and
Yeah.
soften it up, and you're not helping them.
Yeah.
So for me, I'd rather be straight with someone in a loving way. And that's what the game changer is. It's like what
Yeah.
the game changer isn't, is not like something where people come Friday and they're hype and they walk on coal or something. And
No,
then,
it's definitely not that. Right.
yeah. And then all of a sudden my life's changed. And then Tuesday they go back. The beautiful thing about the game changer is we have a 97% success rate on delivering on the promise of the weekend. 97%. So people leave, and my promise to people is it'll be the most valuable weekend of their year and possibly their lives. And part of it is, like you said, you meet so many, like we keep it intimate, and the people you meet are extraordinary. You'll have
Amazing.
everybody from a billionaire CEO to a single mom to a pro athlete to a executive. And one of the things I'm most proud of is when I first started in personal development was it was a lot of women, about 80% women, 75% women, mostly white, right? In the world of professional personal development, in the game changer, you will have 50-50 of like
Diverse,
50
so
men,
diverse.
50% women, so diverse, Black, Latino, Asian, white, like all in a room. And what's beautiful about it is, you start looking and people start bringing up their stuff and they start looking at someone they think is different. They say, man, we're more
Wow.
alike than different.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I'm most proud of is the diversity is that I bring into these rooms because, that was one of the things that was important for me.
No, that's great. And then to see the breakthroughs, like when someone is like you're coaching someone one-on-one in this big scene, right? And there's a breakthrough right there and then they get it and it clicks for them for the first time. Like, and you see their face and it's like, yeah, they got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And I love watching you work and do that because it comes so natural. And the beauty of it and what you always tell everybody, myself included, is the answer is always in you. I'm helping you pull it out.
That's it.
It's already there, right?
That's
And
it.
you just gotta listen to it, And sometimes some people need a little bit more prodding, a little bit more coaching, but it is there.
That's a great point, D. Like, I'm not for the guru. Like, I always tell people if someone says the answer's here with me, come follow me, come
Right.
pay for my programs, I'm the answer. I tell people run the other way. Right? Because my job, the best coaches that I've learned from and who I am as a coach in the world is to understand that I point people back to the source of where the answer is.
Yeah.
And the answer is right there in the person in front of me, in their mind and in their heart. So if I can open that up and get them back into looking there, they got the answer. And their answer is way better than an answer that I'd come up with. And I know that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of sets me apart, that I'm not looking to get people to follow me. I don't need to be famous. I don't need to be an influencer, and yet people know who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all, and I think it's because one, you're vulnerable, like you said. I think you're authentic. You don't come off as fake. And I think in a world where everyone is trying to impress or trying to be that person, I think more and more people are starting to lean into that. Like,
Yeah.
I want something that's real. I want to talk to someone that's real. I don't want someone that's gonna be fake about things and who I have to guess what their integrity and everything else is. Like, I don't have to guess anything with you. I know who you are and how you show up. And I think
Right.
that's what people want.
It's important because like it's not nobody's perfect. Like I
No.
fall short. I remember I was writing Fatherhood Leadership, and I got short because I had a deadline. I screamed at my son, and my son looked at me and was like, "What part of Fatherhood Leadership is that?" You know what I'm saying? And he was
Right.
right,
You're
right.
right.
But now I grew up backhand, but like
Right,
I'm a
right.
different. But I looked at him and I was like, he's right. So
You're
it's
right.
like the reason the most people to me, the people who are authentic or are people who are authentic about being inauthentic,
Mm,
right?
mm.
Is there times you fell short
Yeah.
and can you admit that? Like when I'm inauthentic or I'm like, I said this, I didn't like, I want to be able to, when you can own that, that's when you're authentic,
Yes, I
right?
agree.
I remember having a woman I dated years ago for my wife, and she was like, "Baby, I never lied to you." I said, "Baby, you lying to me right now."
Right now.
So like the people who are authentic are people who can be authentic about when they've been inauthentic.
Yes, yes.
Not the people
That
like
has helped me, bro. Like,
right.
with my relationship with my oldest son, with Justin, like, being able to be held accountable for stuff I did not do. And I
That's
had to
right.
live in that, like, and understand that he was right.
Yeah.
And it's made our relationship so much better. Like, and we started this years ago, and he just told me some stuff, and I was just like, damn, I didn't know I really. I thought I was getting it all right, Like, and it was
Right.
like, no, you weren't getting it all right, and that's okay,
That's right.
I saw this quote I think yesterday. Is like, you start to realize that your father was living his life for the first time too, as a
Yeah.
father, right? Like, in going through things and learning things. But we tend to forget that and don't give our parents grace sometimes because they had to go through some stuff. So that has helped me be super accountable and be able to say, yeah, you know what, it's okay, and I can get better and I can learn from it.
Yeah. It's a big deal. And then, the people who are inauthentic I found is the ones who act like they perfect. Like
Yes.
I know I'm human, man. I fall short. I'm a guy who does some really great things, and I don't shy away from that. And I serve people, and I'm human,
Yeah.
and that's the connection for people. When people can see that, like, they can relate to you, you can help people. And
Yes.
for me, that's been kind of my journey of like relatability, man. I grew
Yeah.
up, with probably no choice but to relate because I've been, of where I've been from. So it's just a gift, man. It's a
Yeah.
gift.
No, it is, and it comes natural from you. And I've learned from it, and I continue to learn from it, and I continue to pull from you. And you've always been there. So
And you're a gift, man. And, the fact that you're having this kind of platform to bring value to people, it could be one person hears this podcast and be like, yo, that shifted something in me so powerfully, that I see life different. And if you could shift people to just see inside something
yeah.
different about their life, then the next step they say, just possibly I can live life different. And
Mm,
they start making the next step. And that's why I acknowledge you for the gift that you're giving the world with this podcast. And, because we need to have, from my experience, this lens of leave it better will help heal a lot of things in the world.
that's what I'm hoping.
If my job is just to show up in every situation, I have a thing where I always say, can I raise each moment? It doesn't
Mm,
need to be a lot, but it's like wherever I'm at, can I just raise the moment a little bit?
right.
And it's similar to leave it better, right? And if people had that perspective and mindset that, hey, no matter where I'm at, I'm gonna leave it better, we start seeing the world, heal a little bit and be a little better.
Nah, I agree. And I was going to ask you, what does leave it better mean to you? But you just broke it down, and that's exactly what I want it to be. Like, you leave spaces better, you leave people better, just show up the right way in rooms. Like you said, just coming in and not bleeding on people, right? Like, coming in with it, just, hey man, how you doing? How's everything going? That's the first thing I say to any client that calls me on my job, my regular 9 to 5 is, how are you today?
Yeah.
They mainly coming in angry. Well, you know what, Dwayne, so and so, and then they start to mellow
Right.
down. Like, let's talk about some things. We'll be all right. It's okay,
Right.
right? So that's why I try to start with that, and try to leave that day better. When I finish, even if they give me an attitude, I'm just like, I hope you have a great day today. Hope things change for you. Because listen, I'm a small part of their life, like this interaction that we're having. But if my interaction forces something that changes in their mind, where they were upset, but now they talk to me, and now they're not going to bleed on the next person because they've had that conversation, then I've done my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
It's good.
So
Well, you left me back because I'm in the middle of creating this lounge area in my, like, what people would call a man cave, but it's like a
oh,
lounge area in my job, and that is one of my favorite photos. And you just gave
oh,
me an idea. Muhammad Ali,
yes,
my
sir.
favorite athlete of all time. So I think I'm gonna have to order that and take the. You left me better because I may take that and put that in my man cave.
Yeah, yeah.
And and when I invite you over and it's all done, we can have a cigar and you'll
Oh
see.
yeah, we got to, man. We got to. So D, man, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, as I know what your schedule looks like. I know how hectic it is, and I know how valuable your time is. So I thank you for choosing me and choosing to spend this time with me and talk. But before I let you go, I want you to tell people how to get in touch with you. When's the next game changer? All that other good stuff.
Yep. Well, it's a pleasure, man. I love you, brother. I love what you're
So,
up to, and I just acknowledge you and all the listeners. Right, you're in good hands with my guy D. He's gonna leave it better for real. My name, DevonBandison.com. You can go there under Work With Me Live Events. That's where you'll find the Game Changer. You can check out my website. I'm all on social media, just under my name. The next Game Changer is in 2 weeks in LA, Santa Monica. Then we're going to be in Florida in February and back in New York in April. So people got time, but those will be all posted on my website, or you guys can reach out directly to me through social media. I'm usually going to respond. So,
yep. Or let me know if you can't get in touch with them. Let me know. I will get you in touch with them, because
yep.
it's that important. I think you guys should definitely, even if you do one, right?
Yeah.
One can change your life, like seriously. So just attend one, and if you don't like it, you come see me. We have a conversation about it.
Listen, look, 97% success rate. So it's like grandma. I call it's called kitchen tested, like grandma's cooking. You go to grandma, right?
Right.
And the yams and the mac and cheese. She ain't got no measuring sticks, but when it's all said and done, it's gonna be hitting. It's the same thing.
That is the game changers. That is the game changers. Oh man. So thank you, my brother. And as I say at the end of every episode, when you leave, please leave it better. Devon Bandison, everybody. Thank you for listening to Leave It Better. I'm Dwain Daniels, and my hope is that today's conversation gave you a little more peace, a little more hope, and a reminder that how we show up still matters. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need it. And remember, when you leave it better.